to Sleepy Chronicles. Whatever today brought you the noise, the rush, the things that didn't go the way you wanted, you can set all of that down now. Lie back, put your headphones in, let your shoulders drop and your jaw unclench. This is your time, and there is nowhere else you need to be. If you enjoy what we do here, quiet voices, slow history, and the kind of stories that make your eyelids feel heavier with each sentence, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. It costs nothing and means quite a lot. And let us know in the comments where in the world you're listening from. We read every single one. Tonight, we're going to the year 250 AD to a city called Trier in what is now Western Germany. A city so vast, so certain of its own permanence, that the people who lived there could not have imagined it would one day fall silent. So get comfortable. We'll take it from here. The coin sits on the edge of the counter. You have not put it away yet. It is a denarius, silver, well struck, heavier than it looks. Your father carried it from Rome 20 years ago when he first came north to set up the cloth trade, and he pressed it into your hand the morning he gave you the keys to the shop. Not because it was worth more than the others, because it was the first one that was truly his. You set it back down and step into the doorway. Outside, Trier moves the way it always has. The Cardo Maximus is already full, cart wheels grinding over stone, a vendor calling out in accented Latin, the low hum of the city doing what it does. Beyond the rooftops, you can see the pale edge of the imperial baths catching the early light. 15 acres of heated marble, the largest complex north of Rome. This morning matters more than most. In 2 days, a merchant named Aldrich is arriving from the north. You have been writing to him for the better part of a year. Wool from his region for the fine linen you source from the east. It is not the largest deal you have ever negotiated, but it is the steadiest. Your father built this shop on steadiness. You intend to keep it that way. Marta appears in the gap between your awning and hers. She runs the bakery next door and has done so since before you inherited this place. Broad-shouldered, flower on her sleeve, the expression of someone who has already decided how the day is going to go. Your friend came by, she says. Which friend? The one with the seal. She goes back inside before you can answer. Caius finds you an hour later, threading through the crowd with that walk of his, measured, deliberate. The walk of a man who knows he will be let through. He was your closest companion growing up in this city. He is also now a tax collector for the imperial administration, and he carries both of those things with him at all times. He does not sit down. There is a new assessment, he says, low enough that the woman browsing your linens will not hear. Effective from the 1st of next month. 15% above the current rate. You look at him. The armies need provisioning, he says. The northern frontier. The frontier has been expensive for a generation. But 15% is not a provisioning fee. 15% is a different kind of message. Aldrich arrives in 2 days, you say. Caius nods slowly. Something in his face is asking you not to make this harder than it needs to be. Then you have 2 days to decide how you want to price the arrangement. He leaves the way he came. The coin is still on the counter. You pick it up not to examine it, just to feel it. Silver, real silver, the weight that silver has when it is what it claims to be. The emperor's profile on one face, worn smooth from your father's hands, and then yours. Some of the newer coins feel lighter, not by much, just enough to notice if you have been handling money long enough. You have been handling money long enough. Marta leans through the doorway in the late afternoon, sets a round of bread on the counter without asking. Caius came to me too, she says. Different numbers, same story. What did you tell him? That I would think about it. A pause. My cousin left Cologne last spring. Moved the family to a farm 3 days east. Said the city had gotten too expensive to breathe in. A beat. I told him he was being dramatic. She picks up the Denarius before you can stop her, turns it once, sets it back down. Your father's. Yes. She says nothing else. She goes back to her side of the wall, and you hear the soft sounds of her moving around her kitchen, and then just the ordinary noise of the street. Evening comes slowly. The lamps along the Cardo are lit one by one. You stand in the doorway and watch the light settle over the stone and the long, straight avenue stretching toward the river. 47 towers in the city walls. Roads running to every corner of the empire. A postal system that can carry a letter to Rome in less time than your grandfather would have believed possible. This is the city your father chose. This is the city you were born into. You go inside. The coin goes into your belt. A small, familiar weight that has always meant something solid. Somewhere outside, a voice calls out. A single name not yours, in a language you do not quite place. By the time you reach the doorway, there is no one there, just the lamplit street, and the sound of the city settling into night, the way it always has. The market is louder than it should be for this hour. You notice it before you can name it, something off in the rhythm of the stalls, the way the vendors are calling out with a little more force than usual, the way people are stopping, looking at prices, and moving on without buying. You have been coming to this market since you were old enough to carry a basket, and you know what a good morning looks like. This is not one. Aldrich was supposed to arrive 4 days ago. You have not heard a word. The linen stall where you source your Eastern cloth has raised its prices again, the 3rd time in 2 months. The merchant there, a thin man with quick eyes, shrugs before you can ask. Everyone is raising prices, he says. The coin is not what it was. You know this already, but hearing it said out loud in the open market, casually, the way you might mention the weather, does something to the air around you. You have heard rumors of a new imperial edict, price ceilings set by the government, a list of maximums for everything from grain to linen to a day's labor. Some merchants are already hiding stock rather than selling below cost. Others are simply leaving the market earlier each morning. You buy nothing. You go back to the shop. By mid-morning, a man comes in who has been a customer since your father's time. He is looking for undyed wool, something plain, practical. You show him what you have. When he pays, he sets the coins on the counter, and you count them, and he watches your hands the way people watch when they already know what you are going to notice. One of the coins is lighter, not by much, but enough. They are all like that now, he says, not unkindly. The new ones. You set the lighter coin back on the counter. Next to it, without thinking, you have placed your father's Denarius. The old one and the new one side by side. The difference is not something you could explain to someone who had not spent years handling both. The old coin has a density to it, a certainty. The new one looks the same. It simply is not. The man looks at the old coin. That's old silver, he says. My father's. He was from the south. Rome, originally. He came north when I was 3. Followed the trade roads up through Gaul. Stopped here when he saw the size of the city and never left. You close your hand around the Denarius. He said Trier reminded him of Rome. Smaller, he said, but the same bones. The man nods. pays the difference in a coin you trust, and leaves. You stand for a moment with your father's coin in your fist, and the lighter one still on the counter between you. Marta comes through in the early afternoon. She does not bring bread this time. She sits on the edge of the counter, something she has never done before, and looks at the street without saying anything at first. "I raised my prices this morning," she says. "How much?" "Enough that 2 of my regulars walked away without buying." She looks at you. "I had to. The flour cost me half again what it did in spring. I cannot absorb it anymore." You think of her cousin, the farm 3 days east, the comment about being dramatic. "My cousin wrote," she says, as if she heard you thinking it. "He has more than enough grain. His family is eating well." A pause that sits heavier than the ones before it. He did not say, "I told you so." He did not have to. You do not answer. Outside, a cart goes by too fast, one wheel catching a loose stone, and for a moment the whole street seems to lurch before settling back into place. "Aldrich," she says, not a question. "Nothing, 4 days and nothing." She nods once and slides off the counter. At the door she stops. "Let me know when you hear something." Not if, when. You notice the word but do not say anything. Chaos comes at the end of the day, just before the evening lamps are lit. He stands in the doorway with his arms folded and tells you, in the measured voice he uses for everything, that there is trouble on the northern road. A bridge washed out 3 weeks ago near the Moselle crossing, and no one has been sent to repair it yet. Merchant traffic from the north has rerouted east, adding 2 weeks to a journey that used to take 5 days. Aldrich would not have known, you say. No, he would not have known. You wait for something else, some reassurance, the name of a road commissioner who is handling it. Chaos looks at you for a moment, then looks past you into the shop. "These things get repaired," he says finally. "It takes time." He leaves. You close the shop. Marta's bread from 2 days ago is still on the counter. You kept it without meaning to. You pick it up now, just to move it, and it sits in your hand heavier than it should. Not because of the bread. You know that. Something has settled behind your ribs that was not there this morning, and you cannot quite find where it is sitting or what it wants from you. How much is a city worth, you wonder, when the bread costs more than it did the day before, and the roads that built it cannot be counted on to hold? You do not go to the doorway tonight. You leave the lamp burning low and sit with the quiet. Outside, the city makes its ordinary sounds, wheel and voice, and the distant, steady knock of the waterworks running the way they have always run. You sit with it for a while. The coin in your belt, the bread in your hand, the question that has no answer yet, but is no longer the kind of question you can set aside until morning. You leave before the market opens. The city gate is already unlocked at this hour. The guards wave you through without much interest, the way they do with anyone who looks like they have somewhere to be. You step out onto the road, and the sound of tear drops away faster than you expect. One moment, cobblestone voices, the smell of morning fires. The next, just the road and the fields on either side of it, and the sky beginning to lighten in the east. You have heard that a small caravan is moving south along the western route. Wool and dried goods, the kind of stock you cannot get from the north anymore. If you meet them before they reach the city, you can negotiate before anyone else does. It is not the arrangement you built with Aldrich, but it is something. The road itself surprises you. You have traveled it before, years ago, and in your memory it was smooth. The kind of surface that made you understand why Rome built roads at all. Wide enough for two carts to pass each other without slowing, edged with drainage ditches, marked every mile with a stone pillar. Your father used to say that the roads were the empire's real achievement, not the armies, not the aqueducts, the roads, because everything else moved on them. This road has not been maintained in some time. You can see where the surface has cracked and heaved over a winter. The stones pushed apart by frost and never reset. A section near a small stream crossing has simply collapsed into the mud, and someone has laid planks across it as a temporary fix. The planks are rotting now, soft underfoot, the kind of repair that fixes nothing. The drainage ditches on the left side are choked with grass. The mile markers are still standing, but one has tilted so far it points at the ground. You walk carefully and keep moving. About 2 miles out, you pass what was once a mancio. One of the roadside stations the empire built to house travelers and change horses, spaced a half-day's journey apart along every major road. This one has been empty for a while. The roof over the stable has fallen in. The main building still stands, its walls thick enough to outlast the people who stopped caring for them. You push the door open. Inside, it is dim and cool, smelling of old stone and something organic you cannot place place. The floor is still tiled, cracked in places, but there, on the far wall, barely visible in the low light, is a carved relief. A road scene, travelers on horseback, a milestone in the background. The kind of thing that was everywhere once, so common you stopped seeing it. Your father slept in a place like this once. He told you about it. The way the keeper brought water for the horses before anything else. The way there was always a fire going no matter the hour. He made it sound like a reliable thing. A system that held. You stand there for a moment, longer than you mean to. Who decides when something is no longer worth keeping? You close the door behind you and keep walking. The caravan is where you were told it would be, pulled off the road in a wide spot, the oxen resting, 3 men eating beside a small fire. The lead merchant is older, weathered, with the particular economy of movement that comes from spending most of your life outdoors. He looks at you the way people look at someone who has walked 2 miles to find them, which is to say, with moderate interest and no urgency. The wool is good, not exceptional, but honest. The price he quotes is higher than you want, and you tell him so. And he tells you that everything costs more than it used to, which is not an argument so much as a fact neither of you can dispute. You go back and forth for a while. You settle on a number that is uncomfortable but workable. You shake hands and arrange delivery for the following morning. Walking back, you feel the particular relief of having done something, taken a step, made a decision, moved toward the problem rather than waiting for it to resolve itself. It does not last long. Chaos is on the road. You see him before he sees you. He is on foot, coming from the direction of the city with his head down and his hands behind his back. When he looks up and finds you there, something crosses his face that is gone before you can read it. I was coming to find you, he says. You could have waited at the shop. I did not want to wait at the shop. He falls into step beside you. The assessment from last month. There is interest accruing on the unpaid portion. You look at him. I am not setting the terms, he says. I am telling you what they are. You walk the rest of the road in silence. At the city gate he stops and does not follow you in, and you do not turn around to see if he is still standing there. The shop is as you left it. Marta's side is quiet, her door closed. No smell of bread from her side of the wall. You do not know if she is in or out, and you find you do not have the energy to knock and ask. You stand at your counter and look at the shelves. Tomorrow there will be wool on them. New stock, honestly sourced, at a price that leaves you less margin than you would like. It is not nothing. You tell yourself it is not nothing. The afternoon light comes through the doorway at a low angle and falls across the empty shelves, and the shadow of the shelving stretches long across the floor. You look at it for a while, the shape of it, the weight of it, the way it just lies there saying nothing. You put your hands flat on the counter. You stay like that until the light changes. The city feels different this morning. Not louder, not quieter, just thinner somehow. Like something has been leaving it for a while, and you are only now noticing the shape of what is gone. You count 3 empty storefronts on the way to the market. One of them you recognize, a potter who has been on that corner since before your father died. The shutters are closed in a way that does not suggest he will be back. A Caravan stops at your stall early, looking for rope and nothing you sell. You talk for a moment the way people talk when they are both waiting for the day to start. You ask about Aldrich because you have not stopped asking. Heard he turned back north, the man says, already looking past you. Said the city was getting difficult. That is all. You nod. The man moves on. You stand with that for a moment, and then you open the shop. By mid-morning, you have sold 2 lengths of wool at a price that makes the morning feel like a loss, even though it is not. The buyer haggles the way people haggle when they know you need the sale more than they need the goods, which is a particular kind of knowing that leaves a mark. You take the coins without counting them in front of him. You count them after he leaves. It is enough for part of the debt, not all of it. You close the shop for an hour and walk to Marta's door. It is locked, not the ordinary locked of a business between hours, something more final in the way it sits in the frame. You knock anyway. Nothing. You go around to the side where her delivery window is and look in through the gap. The oven is cold. The bread forms are stacked in the corner the way you stack things when you are not coming back for them. The woman from the cloth stall 2 doors down is sweeping her step. You ask her. Left this morning, she says, without looking up from her broom. Early, had a cart, didn't say where. You stand outside Marta's door for longer than makes sense. You are not sure what you are waiting for. Some sound from inside. Some evidence that you have misunderstood. There is nothing. Just the door and the cold oven on the other side of it, and the street going on around you as if nothing particular has happened. Your father never left. Through the devaluations, through the frontier taxes, through the years when the trade roads got slower and the coin got lighter, he stayed. You used to think it was stubbornness. Standing here now, outside a locked door that used to mean bread and plain talk, and someone who did not pretend things were fine when they were not. You think maybe it was something else. Maybe it was the belief that a city was worth more than what it cost you, that the walls and the roads and the baths and the 47 towers meant something that could hold even when everything around them was shifting. You are not sure you still believe that. You are not sure when you stopped. In the market, a man from the south is talking to anyone who will listen about what is happening near Constantinople. A sickness moving through the port cities, he says, carried on ships, spreading faster than news of it. People are leaving the cities there, the ones who can. You listen for a moment and then you move on, because there is nothing useful to do with that information today, and you have enough to carry already. On the road that curves past the eastern gate, you can see the monastery on the hill. You have passed it 100 times without looking at it closely. Today you look. There are more people moving toward it than you remember seeing before, not a crowd. Just a steady, thin stream, carrying things, moving with purpose. You watch them for a moment, and then you keep walking. Chaos finds you in the street, not far from the forum. He does not suggest going inside anywhere. He stops in front of you, and the afternoon light is flat, and there is nowhere for either of you to look that is not directly at the other. He gives you the number, the full debt with interest by the end of the month. He gives you the date. He tells you what happens after the date in the same voice he uses for everything, which is a voice that was designed, you think, to make the unbearable sound administrative. You look at him. You look for the boy who used to run these same streets with you, who knew which bakers gave extra on market day, and which guards could be distracted with a question about the northern campaign. You have been looking for that person in chaos for some time now. He is not there today any more than he was yesterday. I understand, you say. He nods. He does not offer his hand. You do not offer yours. He turns and walks back toward the forum, and you watch him go, and then you turn the other way. The shop is quiet. You bolt the door behind you and stand in the dim for a moment, letting your eyes adjust. You reach into your belt and take out the Denarius. You set it on the counter, not dropped, not placed with any particular weight, just set down, the way you put something when you want it in front of you. You look at it, the Emperor's profile, worn smooth. Old silver, the customer said, your father's. Outside, the street makes its sounds. Somewhere a cart, somewhere a voice. From Marta's side of the wall, nothing, not silence exactly, just the absence of the particular sounds that used to come from there. And you find you are not even cataloging that absence anymore. It is simply the new shape of things. You look at the coin. You are calculating something. You do not yet know what. The Denarius is still on the counter where you left it last night. You did not mean to leave it there. Or maybe you did. You stand in the doorway of the shop for a moment, looking at it from across the room, the small, bright circle of it catching the morning light, sitting exactly where you set it down, patient in the way that objects are patient, which is to say, without effort, without intention, simply there. The debt is due at the end of the week. You pick up the coin. You turn it once. You set it back down. Then you go outside. You are not sure what you are looking for. Maybe you just need to walk the city before you decide anything. The way you might read a letter twice before answering it. Not because the words change, but because the second reading tells you something the first one could not. You pull your coat against the morning air and start walking, and you let the city come to you the way it always has, on its own terms, at its own pace. The imperial baths are still standing. Of course they are. The walls are 4 feet thick in places, built to last longer than the people who commissioned them. But the entrance hall is quieter than you remember. A few attendants, a handful of visitors moving without hurrying. The steam still rises from the floor vents the way it always has, and the heated air wraps around you when you step inside. And for a moment, it is possible to believe that nothing has changed, that this is just an ordinary morning in an ordinary city, that the question sitting at the back of your chest is not the question it is. You stay a few minutes. You let the warmth settle. Then you leave. The forum is half full. It used to feel too crowded to move through. Merchants, officials, petitioners, the whole machinery of civic life turning loudly in one place. Today, you can see across it without difficulty. A few stalls, a small group near the basilica steps. The fountain is still running, and its sound carries across the open space easily now which tells you something about how much other sound there is not. You sit on the edge of the fountain for a while. Your father used to say that a city is not its buildings. You argued with him about this once, when you were young enough to think arguing proved something. Buildings are exactly what a city is. You told him: the forum, the roads, the walls, the baths. Take those away, and what do you have? He laughed, the way he laughed at things he found more sad than funny. A city is people deciding to stay, he said. That is all it ever was. The buildings are just what happens when enough people make that decision long enough. You think about Marta, somewhere east of here, in a farmhouse you have never seen, probably already awake, already doing something practical with her hands. You think she knew, before any of you, what the numbers were actually saying. You think about Aldrich, turned back north. You think about Caius walking toward the forum with his hands behind his back, doing what the system asks of him, because the system is the only thing still asking. On the way back through the eastern quarter, you pass a building that used to be a private home, large, well-built, with a painted facade still partly visible beneath the weather. The door is open. Someone has begun dismantling the floor. The tiles are stacked near the entrance, carefully, ready to be moved somewhere they are still needed. Somewhere else they will become a floor again, or a wall, or the foundation of something that does not exist yet. The stone does not care. Stone is patient the same way the coin is patient, without effort, without intention, waiting to see what use it is put to next. You pass the Porta Nigra on the way back. The black gate, enormous, the stone dark with centuries of weather, and still here, still carrying the weight of the arch above it. You stop under it for a moment. North, the road goes. South, the city. You stand exactly between the two, and then you keep walking. The shop is as you left it. You close the door behind you. The Denarius on the counter. The wall where Marta's sounds used to come through, just plaster now. You sit down. The afternoon passes the way afternoons pass when you are not moving through them, but simply letting them go by. The light shifts across the floor. The sounds outside change, fewer wheels, fewer voices, more wind. Trier breathes differently in the evening than it used to. The city is not dying. That is too large a word for what is happening. It is more like adjusting, finding a new size, becoming something other than what it was, the way things do when the conditions that made them change. You are very tired, not the tired that comes from a long day, the tired that comes from holding something at a certain angle for too long, and your arms finally telling you they have done what they can. The lamp burns low. The light outside is going. Let your shoulders drop. You have been holding them without knowing it, somewhere near your ears, somewhere that costs more than it should. Let them drop now. Let the weight of it settle down through you and into the floor, into the stone beneath, into the ground that has been here longer than the city and will be here after. The city makes its sounds. Quieter now. A cart somewhere far off. The wind under the door. The creak of this building settling into the evening the way it settles every evening. The same sound it made when your father locked up. The same sound it will make long after the question of whether you stay or go has become a story no one is telling anymore. Let your eyes close if they want to. There is nothing left to decide tonight. The coin is on the counter. The road is there if you need it. It goes in both directions, the way roads always have. And in the morning, the light will come through the same gap in the shutter, and you will know what you know. And whatever comes next will come from somewhere quieter than this, from this room, from this stillness, from the slow patience of things built to last, still standing, carrying less than they used to, and finding that they are standing still. Rest now. Let the sounds of the street grow smaller. Let the city carry itself for a while without you, if this story stayed with you. If you found yourself here, in this room, in this particular tiredness, it would mean a great deal if you liked this video and subscribed. It keeps us here. It keeps the stories coming. For now, sleep.